Oh, right in the thrusters, too. Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Automatons public beta. So, that, I guess first order of business. Ooh, look at that dust come up. That's how you know this is real, not just a screenshot. First off, this is not a new update to Space Engineers. This is a public beta for an upcoming update. So essentially, they think it's good enough that they can show it to the community, let us get all excited, and find all the little bugs that'll happen. Because this update adds AI, or improves AI drastically, and sort of what you can do with the AI in the game, how you can use the AI as a player. It changes how you... It does a whole heck of a lot that causes a whole bunch of bugs and confusing problems that are hard to detect as a developer. So that's where we come in. If I start running, you can see my little fella. He's just gonna putter on along behind me. Look at him go. I managed to fix this. So I've been messing around with this for an hour or so. The thing I will say, the thing that I think is the biggest praise I can give to this update prep, what they have going. Oh, he's looking. He's thinking. I was able to figure this out in like 5 minutes. It was, I'm kind of familiar with AI, with technology, programming, that sort of stuff. So maybe that gave me an edge. But if you were a complete imbecile, you could probably get it in like 15 minutes. So that's pretty dang good for such a major difference to the game, such a major sort of... It's a whole new thing to do. Let me get a HUD back up and start showing some of what the heck I'm talking about. Oh, and this gets confusing because I'm dampened to the drone as well. So yeah, the first thing you'll notice, these two interesting blue blocks that are now being shoved into my face. So these are new. These are, keep looking at me. Well, it is looking at me, just trying to flip itself in doing so. Yeah, these are new blocks. These are sort of the basic parts of a drone. I could have done some modicum of setting up, but you know me, I don't do that sort of stuff. Build a big old platform. Okay, buddy, I know I programmed you to be a little clingy, but that was for the intro. I need you to not. I need you to come here. This is one thing I have discovered is, hold on, Control Z. Getting a wrangle on your drones can be a bit convoluted because they like to move around and look at you and then fly away. I probably shouldn't have put the controls on the back because that may be part of my problem. Okay, I'm going to tell you, you know what? You just hang here. Hang here, dangling straight up. Perfect. So, I'll kind of give a run through. You can probably... I don't know if they upload the VODs for the Keen live streams or not, but I don't know. More capable YouTubers will probably go over all this stuff. So, we kind of have 5 blocks. And I didn't give myself enough room. So, we have these 5 sort of AI control blocks. They also exist on large grid. There's the little shield. Yeah, so you can build big drones as well. But these things are kind of how you do stuff. And it's not necessarily that you'd use all of them. In fact, you may not want to use all of them. I think you could, but this guy only uses the 2. So, this block here, that has a little rocket on it, that is the AI flight. So, you can see it's real angry right now because I've put it on a grid with no thrusters or power. It does give you a lot of... all the blocks... well, that one hasn't. The blocks give you kind of error warnings for what's missing, so that's nice and handy. Though it is a bit of a It's a big block of red you have to process through. So we have the flight, sort of AI flight block, which controls the actual flying. You need one of those on the grid to make it use the thrusters. You can do all kinds of stuff, like control how fast it moves, change the altitudes and angles it'll fly at. So one interesting thing, and I'm not sure, again, this is a beta, so they're figuring stuff out. The toggle block on off is still here. It won't do much because there's no power on the grid. But that would control, like, if I have my AI flight block and I turn it off, now it won't have AI flight anymore. But you also have this down here, which is an AI behavior toggle. And if you want the block to actually work, you have to click this on. So I'm not sure why. One, I'm not sure why this is off by default. Maybe it's so that you can... Well, no, because you could always turn the block off in general and mess with settings. So yeah, I'm not sure why this is here separate. But it is, and it's something to keep in mind. Collision avoidance is handy. Though I've found... So this little fella, he was kind of hovering along the ground. I did not turn collision avoidance on. My previous drone, I had collision avoidance on, and what it would do is it would get close to the ground like here, and it would go whoop way up into the sky, and then kind of bounce back. I betcha. Okay. So, follow me, buddy. Then collision avoidance on. So, it's set to fly like maximum half a meter from the ground. Okay, it actually seems to be doing better. My previous drone was a little excitable. Maybe it was some other setting. But I've noticed collision avoidance not being on, it still tends to kind of avoid the ground. It may be that this will... Yeah, voxels and other grids. So it may be that with that off, maybe it'll always track for the ground, but if I have that off and like fly behind a mountain, it won't look for the mountain. Oh, look, there he goes. That's what my drone was doing before. It would kind of get skittish and fly away and then come back. Not sure why that's happening, but it does. I guess the next block I'll show you here. So this is the basic AI task block. And it has these three things. It can do autopilot, so it works sort of like the old remote control, which they still have the remote control and you can still use it with autopilot. So they may leave that in for posterity's sake so that what few old drones people had would still work. But this kind of supersedes that functionality. But you can set it up with waypoints that are GPS markers, or I believe you can use beacons in here. And those will sort of count as waypoints that it will fly to, fly around, all that jazz. Follow home? Yeah. So this lets you follow a beacon. So, whereas before I had it follow player, where it follows me and just kind of, well, follows me and you can set the distance. Follow home follows a grid beacon. So if I spawn in a van, stick a beacon on the van, and now I can set it to follow the beacon. And I may want to, yeah, have it... Oh boy. Calm down there, buddy. Let's say like 10 meters away. Maximum 200. Off he goes. I'm still damped, which got confusing. Where are you going? I guess I did say it could go up to 200 meters away, so maybe it's just wandering. But where are you all the way over there? Here. So, now if I start driving, theoretically, it's way over there. Did it crash? Hold on. Oh, if you've gotten confused because you're upside down, here. Let's tell you 15 is your maximum. Go on. Yeah, go home. No, don't worry about me. Here, I'll go with you. Yep, it's alright. It does add some life to the world, even if that life is in the form of petulant dogs. Ooh. May need to look in the oil. Okay. Here's my little drone buddy. It's going to hopefully not rear end the camper. Perfect. And now, if I drive away, it'll think, okay. This might be one of the cases in these videos where I made a proclamation that hadn't actually been tested yet. You alright, bud? You doing okay? I mean, maybe you can wander. Maybe that was the trick. And now it'll just fly around the beacon? Okay, you're here. If I drive... Yeah, there it goes. Now it's kind of following. A little. So tracking beacons may not be perfect. Where are you? I need to put an antenna on these things. Whoa. But the follow players seem to work pretty well. And it may be in space, like with a flying vehicle instead of a rover, this may work better. I don't know. That'll probably confuse it. Here, come here, you. So carrying on with the other blocks, I've placed them slightly out of order. This with the little planet is the basic logic block. This with the little arrow, that is the AI recorder, which, unlike the basic block that will just kind of, well, do a basic task, this you can actually set up apparently to do tasks continually. I guess let's try that with a new drone. I'll show you building a drone too. It's not all that exciting, but it's kind of interesting. So, oh, hello, buddy. Okay. So, I'm just gonna build a little flying vehicle, which is the basis, I guess, of any drone. One thing that on planets doesn't quite make sense. Oh, you jerk. Doesn't want competition. Oh. Just great. Here, come over here. You're gonna stay, okay? Anyway, yeah, you need down thrust on these drones. where you don't technically need down thrust to fly, but because the AI controller is looking for thrust in all directions, it won't work without that. Which is a bit of a bummer because we've kind of been beyond that for a while with most space engineers' designs. So it's a bit of a pain that we have to have to remember that sort of thing. And I guess it's not really, I say we've been beyond that. The modular encounter system, which is what I've designed drones for, doesn't need downward thrust, and so I don't think about them. But these do, because the basic Keen AI does need it. I don't know if the cargo ships need it. But anyway, down thrust is important. And I guess it does help for when they flip themselves over, because they do that. So, does this? Yes, this has a front and back. So that's a handy thing with the blocks, and I assume that's in, yeah, big grid as well. You have a front, and then a marked, you can see the little L there, a red R, rear. So it's kind of marked the direction of how the block's supposed to go, and that's going to be the orientation. Because these sort of count as cockpits, that will be the orientation of the drone. So, good to remember, and it's very easy to do visually. Now, I think this is all I need. Let's have some lights there. Now, this is another case of me testing things live on camera for the first time. But I believe if I hit... Oh boy. No active... Oh, of course, it needs a move block too. No, that's interesting because I thought this could be... I guess they all have a front. You just want to align the fronts. That makes some sense. So, AI flight, I have to turn on AI behavior. That will make it know that it can move. I guess I have to then set this up. This is a little more complex. So, I guess I just hit record. Then fly a ways. Fly over here. I assume it's doing something. Then, just for the end, we'll turn on our lights. I'm only doing this because in the live stream it was given as an example. Okay. Stop. Now if I turn on AI behavior, no move type block. Turn on AI behavior. Yes, okay. Yeah, and it's got a bunch of waypoints. Interesting, interesting. So I guess if I hit reverse and then play, will it take me back? It seems to be. The headlights are still on. Maybe you have to do that with one of the other advanced thingies. Yeah, no, it seems to be retracing the steps as best as I can remember them. It's not always the best at it, but yeah, so that's how this basically works. You can kind of fly a path, record it as you're doing it, And then now, essentially, this could work as a little, back and forth shuttle. So I could have a sensor maybe that gets, when I get in, tells it to play on that block that makes things happen. And this little car will just fly me to wherever I need to go. So long as it's that one point, kind of there-ish. Next on the list, and I'll do these two kind of together, are the defensive and offensive block, which have a shield and a little target, respectively. So the defensive block, it basically tells the drone to run away from an enemy. You can set up all these sort of things to tell it to run away from whatever. Cool, you have this with subsystem thing. So if I only want it to run away from dangerous enemies, I can have it set with weapons. So it'll detect if the enemy grid has a weapon, and then will know to run away, versus if it's just like an enemy drone that's a mining drone, it's not going to care. So that's kind of neat. It can detect characters, you can tell it different things. So that's just a handy little bit, and you can add that into the rest of the system so that it's ready to rock. The offensive is kind of similar, except instead of telling it to flee, this tells your drone to attack. So you can have it to attack enemies or enemies and neutrals. Unfortunately, no friendlies. I think that would be kind of fun, though semi-illogical. You can set kind of how it targets. You can set how often it scans, which I guess the lower you set this, probably it's saying something. I guess too low and it will lose targets very quickly, and it'll probably affect server performance a bit, whereas the higher, you could lose your target, and then it will take a while to find a new one. There's just kind of a whole bunch of stuff to set. You can set weapons. Yeah. So that's pretty fun. And my favorite thing with the attack block, the offensive block, if we go ahead and make another little drone here, if I set the attack pattern here, so you can see we have circle, orbit, where it'll sort of circle around a target, it'll orbit in space, and you can set it down here to not try and orbit in gravity because it may smack into the ground. But yeah, you can have it circle around, you can have it move to one spot and just kind of stay there, hit and run where it'll swoop in, then swoop out and turn around, or intercept. So if you choose intercept, you notice there's this handy little tick box, avoid collision avoidance. Guidance type, I don't fully know what those mean or what the benefits are for them, so basic will work for now. But you may notice this drone has a interesting front to it. This drone here, it's itching for a fight. It's set up to detect enemies. If I give it an enemy here, by just kind of selecting all of this and space pirates. Here in a second. Yep, there it goes. So drone is now angry with that van. We'll watch it. Okay, it's overshot a bit. I think I may have set something wrong. I didn't change the minimum altitude. This is kind of a scary thing to come out here, camper in the morning, stretch, and take in the scenery, and oh, there's a twitchy bob hovering above me. Okay, well let's fix this. Did I even set that? I didn't even arm the warheads. What kind of missile maker am I? Okay. So AI flight, min altitude 0. There we go. So that's maybe not the most effective weapon you could build, but it gets the point across. You can now make very easily player-made missiles. You could pretty easily set this up so that these were like on a merge block being printed. It would print this off. It would turn on the AI on this, or just turn on the block. And off goes your torpedo. Let's, here. Make this with armed warheads. In altitude 0. Those can go wild. Speed limit to full, because why not? Yeah, so you could have this printed off, ready to rock. We have, ooh, an enemy ship with weapons that I'm gonna remove, because let's be honest, this drone probably can't stand up to them. Alright, space pirates are go. There's our little drone friend. The fog has set in, the fog of war. So this is what that target detecting is. It's going on a 30-second loop before it detects. Unless I didn't turn the AI back on. Hold on. Ah. Didn't turn it back on. Okay. In we go. Enemy ship detected. Oh, right in the thrusters, too. Oh, and the yellow submarine is going down. Right into that tree. So, yeah. You can now make player-made weapons. I don't know... Do these have a... Ow. Okay, this is like pea soup now. Hold on. Does it say what range the drones attack at? Or detect at? Oh, okay, it's here. Engage enemy grids up to 2,500 meters away, so 2.5 kilometers, which means you can make long-range missiles that are... I think the railgun is only 2 kilometers, right? Yeah. So you can make player-made weapons that are now the longest-range weapon in the game, which gives it some value. And they just kind of work. It's pretty dang easy. You don't have to deal with, you know, scripts and whatnot to target them and all the issues of having to, like, stop your ship or they freak out. I mean, you may want to stop your ship because depending on how you deploy them, they could cause issues other ways. But it's all in the design. It means that this is now a viable weapon, I'd say, compared to before when it was a fun weapon but completely useless most of the time. Now it's a weapon that's probably completely useless 95% of the time, but maybe, just maybe, it'll hit. So yeah, that's kind of the big thing. And I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. I've not even explored, I guess I should bring out the, so this thing, which is the event controller, which is another huge addition. It basically lets you do basic logic of stuff just on the go. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that it can check. And then you can set, like... I don't know. You can adjust all this stuff. You can hook it up with blocks to make it do stuff. That's a whole separate thing, but every YouTuber worth their salt's covering this shit already, so I don't think I'm gonna bother. I like this boy. And here. Come here. Let's have you dance perilously close to the Bob drone. I like these. I honestly didn't think I'd be as excited. Oh, buddy. You're brave. I didn't think I'd be as excited as I am, but Having something this easy that I can just look at him. He just wants to be with me. His human master. His creator. I've created life. That's kind of what I think is the biggest thing of this update, aside from everything else that's going to be awesome about it. This is a big game changer. Just to make the world feel something. Make it feel like there's stuff going on. Even though it's all just you creating it in your own head, you get to have little robot friends that follow you around that you made, and you make them do stuff. There's a reason now to have multiple ships even though you never use them. Partly because you don't have to use them. You can make a mining drone that'll go off and mine. Or a little cargo drone that'll fly back and forth. You can just do stuff. You can just have a little friend that follows you around. Look at that. You can just have this, and it's great. So yeah, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out any of the stuff I've done. And until next week, bye-bye. I just love how they move.